So hey, let's set Jordan Cross on fire. I created this contract as kind of a gimmick, so you've got 3.5 minutes to set Jordan Cross on fire, and I will explain what happens, but first I just want to show this very unintuitive and bizarre kind of glitch lure that has been recently discovered, or at least recently talked about again. This was discovered by, I think, one of the Chinese or Japanese speaking members of Hitman forum. I don't know who it was because I can't find their post, but I did not come up with this. So what we're doing is we distracted Jordan with a coin. He turned around, saw a weapon, and then he very briefly saw us pick the weapon up and then immediately switch to a coin. And now he's following us. And he will follow us basically anywhere as long as we don't either distract him with something else or get too far away from him. And you can get pretty far. I don't have to actually be this close to him. I could be running right now. I just want to make sure he's kind of on the stairs when I start running down them. And the reason why this is happening is that there's apparently an AI routine for civilians where they will follow you and be like, hey man, put the gun away or put the weapon away. Now, I don't know why this exists, because anytime a civilian sees you with a weapon, under normal circumstances in Hitman, they're supposed to, panic and you're supposed to become compromised. But for some reason, NPCs have this routine, but they'll never go into it normally, so you need some way of kind of confusing or distracting them. And for some reason, now the way coins work, that will work as just throwing a coin and then picking up the coin again kind of is sufficient to distract them for these purposes. There's another version that Goulet found, which is you drop any non-illegal object in front of any NPC. It doesn't have to be the one you're trying to lure. And then you throw a weapon such that the person you're trying to lure sees it in midair. Then you pick the weapon up, again, so that they can briefly see you. That briefly seeing you pick up a weapon seems to be part of it. And then you run, and they will follow you pretty much anywhere on the map. So using this method, I'm able to get Jordan Cross to walk himself down to the fire barrel in 2 minutes and kill him with that. So that seemingly impossible Holy Grail kind of contract condition is now very easily done, because I can get Jordan to just follow me anywhere on the map. And again, this lure seems to be related to this AI routine where civilians will tell you, hey man, knock it off with the weapon, which only seems to happen when their AI or someone's AI or just AI routines in general are interrupted somehow. And I'll show another contract with a different variation on this just to kind of make it a little easier. Basically, you need to break the AI when they're trying to go report to a guard, which means they can't be too close, because if they're too close to a guard, it seems to lock them in. But if they're far enough away from most guards, it doesn't have to be too far. Jordan is one room away from 2 guards, but that was enough. But the other key is you have to distract them. So what we'll do here is we're going to burn Ted Mendez in a similar way. I'm going to shoot that wall just to keep the guard from walking over this way, give me some time to work. I'm going to drop the gun, throw a coin, pick the coin back up, doesn't really matter. And then as soon as Mendez sees the gun and starts turning away, I'm going to pick that up. You can see he briefly sees me do it. And then I switch to the coin so that he's not able to lock in kind of the panic mode there. And for some reason, this puts him now into the, hey man, what are you doing with that gun mode. And that will cause him to follow me, because he really, really thinks it's important to tell me this. And he will basically go the whole length of the marina here. And you don't, like I said, you don't have to be that close to them. I'm walking here, but I could easily be running, and in fact, in a second here, I'm going to actually run away, just to put a little distance between us so I can set up the kill. But you're not required to stick to the coin. I can take my gun out, shoot something, put it away. I can put, the weapons away, put the coins away. For the most part, the goal is to let them briefly see you picking something illegal up in such a way that their AI goes into this routine, at which point they're just guaranteed lured anywhere on the map. They will follow you everywhere. This is the civilian version. Now, there's a guard version, which I'll show next, that was, I believe, discovered or noticed by Quine. I don't know who else has discovered this. I'm sure other people have, but not a lot of people talk about these lures, even though they're probably the most powerful lures in Hitman 2018, because obviously getting Mendez to just walk over here in 2 minutes means that I don't have to knock anyone out to get him all the way down here. And I can just lure him right to the barrel with my pathing, force him to walk into the puddle to actually reach me, and then set the puddle off, set him on fire. Same deal with Jordan. I just use fire barrels as an example. Like I said, you can move people anywhere with this. They'll just follow you, and then you can knock them out or shoot them in an empty room or whatever you want to do. So for the guard version, I'm going to use a consume poison kill on Sheriff Masterson in Whittleton Creek. Now this normally is impossible because Sheriff Masterson does not eat or drink, and he won't go anywhere near the Wilson's party where you can poison people as a server. But the way those server tables work, you can poison any NPC as long as they get close to the table. So what we're going to do is I've just kind of distracted the jogger, and then I've thrown this so that she'll hear it, and put the breaching charge over here. The reason I've done that is I want to make sure she actually reports this weapon to the sheriff and not to the guy, the other deputy. Once the civilian sees the weapon, you can go ahead and pick it up. You don't have to hold on to it. You can put it away or whatever you want to do other things with it. Once she's reported the weapon, we can now begin the trick, which is we're going to throw the breaching charge periodically. And what this is doing is once a guard has been told that there's a weapon, this locks in them to go look for it. And for some reason, throwing the weapon while they're looking for it updates their thoughts as to where they think the weapon was reported. So instead of going to where they were told the weapon was initially, they'll go to wherever it was last thrown. Now the trick here is that only a guard who has had a weapon reported to them will look at that weapon from there on out. As long as their report routine is still going, which the sheriff's is going, he's following us this way, he's going to walk through the Janus yard to get to the party through here. As long as that's happening, no one else will care about the weapon. Now they will care about me throwing it, which is why I had to hide behind that speaker. But you'll notice Mr. Wilson's looking at it, there's a guard over there in disguise, he's not caring, there's a deputy, he's not caring. That's because Sheriff Masterson is locked in to go pick this breaching charge up. So what I'll do is once Masterson gets pretty close to the table, I'm going to detonate the breaching charge, and that will make sure that he doesn't pick the weapon up, so he's no longer distracted by anything, and because of that, I can now serve him because he got close enough to the table. So using this method, or the previous method, any civilian or guard can be, say, maneuvered to one of these tables so you can poison them, or you can move them to fire barrels, to empty rooms, wherever you want to go. You can also use this method just for speed running purposes. You can lure an NPC, then run to another target. While you're taking care of that target, the other target is walking themselves to you. So you can kill a target like in an empty room, then let the other target walk themselves to you and take them out that way. So this is a very powerful lure. It requires a little bit of setup, but really not that much. I mean, with the guard version, all you're doing is getting a civilian to report a weapon, and then throwing the weapon periodically to get someone to go basically anywhere. So I think that's pretty neat. I'll investigate this a bit more, but I think it's kind of interesting.